The South African Qualifications Authority, SAQA, processes over 36,000 applications a year for companies and people wanting to verify overseas qualifications.
Perhaps roughly 36,000, and I know that there's about like 100 to 150 applications that come in per day on a daily level, so it's very, very hectic. It's a very fast-paced and very pressure-filled environment, but we make it work.
That in South Africa we've been faced with this problem of fraudulent qualifications. It is not only a South African problem or even an African problem, it's a problem that has been observed in the world.
And in November 2014, the South African Qualifications Authority, SAQA, took the lead and brought together countries from Africa to see what we as a continent can do to prevent this qualification fraud and verification fraud.
Welcome to the SAQA Verification Seminar.
India, Nigeria, the United Kingdom, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
The purpose of this seminar is to bring together a network of people from across the African continent so that we can begin to establish good, credible, trustworthy relationships amongst institutions so that we can improve the turnaround times and the quality and accuracy of verification across the continent.
And also to find a mechanism that will ensure that we are able to verify these matters almost immediately.
To wait too long, because the waiting period can sometimes be long, and we've waited up to like 2.5 years sometimes to get feedback.
If we have an Africa-wide database, in the US you have the clearinghouse. They say in practically minutes you can verify a qualification. I studied in the States, when I joined SAQA, they had to verify my master's and doctoral qualifications, and they did it literally in minutes. So
on the misrepresentation of qualifications, it is a global phenomenon. It's not uniquely African or South African.
Remember that when we look at qualification types of fraud, we're not only looking at employment, we're looking at increases, we're looking at asking for or applying for better positions, we're looking at opening of bank accounts, getting credit at cheaper rates, interest rates. We're looking at so much more than just what people usually think they defraud because, or they create these forgeries to get employment.
And then of course I think just the value system as an African continent. Do we want people who are unqualified, heading our institutions? What does that say about us and our direction? And what will people be able to say to their children? Well, then they say, go to school. You must do well in school. When people who are, very unsuitably qualified, people who lie and cheat and so forth, are the ones who are actually ruling the roost. It is the German defense minister, Mr. Guttenberg, who, after having been found guilty of plagiarism, had to go.
It has been very proactive of SAQA to think of coming up with this workshop or seminar, because it had to be done by somebody, it had to be initiated. So I do want to congratulate SAQA for doing something about this sketch and this problem, instead of sitting and waiting for someone else to start.
And I think the thing is far more complex than just saying this is the typical profile of a child who would commit fraud. And that is where really good teaching needs to happen. You need to know the children in your classroom, because many children will rather change a mark on a report than face a parent at home.
65% of all fraud happens internally. So you think students, I think your colleagues. So that's the mindset I was talking about earlier. A Chinese couple was found 2 years ago with 1,000 documents from UNISA. Signed documents with UNISA stamps, qualification documents in their possession. Where did they get that?
Nous avons été, comme membres d'une société, sollicités pour accorder des diplômes de complaisance aux gens.
People are able to fake currency, they're able to fake US dollars, they're able to fake rands, sometimes very good looking fakes. So I think we are in that space where we need to move into the post-modern, post-technological world.
Of mobility of labor between different countries. Now, if we cannot compare standards and we cannot also rely on the qualifications from different countries in this continent, then we're sitting with a problem. It will create problems for students who want to study in other countries. It will create problems for adults who want to go and work in other countries. So having their certificates from us, and those certificates have some security features, we should ensure that the qualifications or the certificate cannot be duplicated by anybody.
I think a number of things that might prevent this from happening is that people are overwhelmed. You come to a 2-day seminar, you arrive back on Wednesday, and there's a pile of stuff on your desk. So how do you deal with that? It is a big task, but I think it is something that's achievable.
Rome was definitely not built in a day. So there is going to be a need for more communication. There's going to be a need for more seminars such as this one. But I hope we've created an awareness more than anything that there is a need, and we've created an awareness to the public as well, so they can push for this and support SAQA in getting this verification process established. So yeah.
But if we don't have champions for this come from the political space, this initiative is not going to go forward. If you look at the previous SADC portal that they spoke about, quite significant accomplishments that were stalled because it became a political debate about who owns it, which country takes the lead, is South Africa, now speaking for other countries. So the political debates are very important. And
we will be assisting our economies in the countries to grow. We'll also increase the cooperation between different countries, and we'll be able to take Africa forward so that it can fly.
This is Erich Vigi from Pepper Press reporting from the SAQA Verification Conference in Pretoria.